Um, Perfect. So let's get started. If you had a chance to watch the inspiration video, uh, you know why we're doing this. I am thrilled and excited. I learned so much. We've never done this before as a subject, sunflowers. So I uploaded a photo of my sunflower. I want to talk a little bit about it. If you're all ready, go right ahead and then start sketching. I decided to do them from live. That's number one. I'm going to take a picture of that, and then I'm going to continue working this coming week. But I've decided to do it from live. Some of you are using photographs, which is fine. But I took most of the time that I took today to prep was to think what kind of arrangement I wanted based on all the things that I've learned about you know, Van Gogh, the time in Paris, in Arles, and what the sunflowers meant. So I think I'm gonna quickly share, I think I uploaded mine, and I'll share my, my image, because I just wanna explain it to you, because this is the time that perhaps if you have it, by the way, if you're watching from the future, I know that a couple of people won't be able to join us, but they will see it later. Allow yourself some time to make changes if you are doing it from live. And so really quickly, because I'll explain exactly what I wanted. And so this is my setup right now. Based on what I read, what we read, and then what we learned, I wanted to, first of all, I wasn't sure if I was gonna go with the route of Paris or the route of Arles, the south of France, because they're both different conceptually and different. So I decided to merge both. There's a little bit of Paris here, and there's a little bit of south of France. Paris being the flower out of the vase, cut and on a flat surface, and south of France represented by the little vase. So that was my first thought. I picked one flower that wasn't super fresh. I got these flowers a few days ago. I think it was the beginning of the week. So I picked one that wasn't super fresh. I like the cascading and the movement. So I didn't want to have anything super rigid and way too regular, because I want to explore the movement of the petals. So that's something else that you may want to consider if you have something from live. I also wanted to include something green. One of the hardest things to do when the flowers are in a vase is to show anything, any foliage. So I picked one that has a leaf, and also on the side, you can see a little bit of the back flowers, the back of the petals. Because I truly wanted to capture that as well. I think the study of greens here will be really interesting. And I also, conceptually, I wanted to bring the narrative of being out of the water, being discombobulated. I wanted to communicate subconsciously that there's a bowl of water, but the sunflower is not in it. It's out of it. So I don't know if that's going to create some tension, but that was my idea. One vertical axis, one diagonal axis. So compositionally, I get some dynamic movement on the painting. And I think it's important for me to take the first like 10 minutes, even if it's more, to explain what my thought process was behind this. Because hopefully if you watch the video, you're going to see a lot of examples. I got really inspired. We put them all in the shared folder, the image folder. But it was very important to just give it a thought, an extra thought. I wanted this to be different, and I wanted to have a purpose. So, and after I said that, now, whoa, yeah, I think I need to do, later, I need to do two things. I need to straighten this a little bit. And I think that's the closest I could get. So you know you can pin any of the videos by going to any of the video feeds, and if you hover your pointer, you're going to see 3 blue dots on the corner that are going to show up only when you hover your pointer. If you click on those, you have a couple of options that we want you to consider. One is you can pin the screen so you have it all to yourself. It doesn't affect anyone else's video. And number 2 is that you can also choose to hide every non-video participant. So in other words, anyone who is present who is not having a video will be invisible completely from your screen. I think it helps because then you're going to see a bigger screen, and hopefully it's going to help in the process. So I'm ready to sketch, and I just want to share my absolute excitement about this premise. We were not the same at the beginning of the week. Before we thought that this was going to be just about sunflowers, and now thinking that this is more about more than just sunflowers. And we're going to talk about it. And Jen, thank you so much for being there.
My pleasure. I'm super excited to see everyone's work today.
And also, I'm just gonna give you tons of requests, art history, and also sunflower
Awesome.
Things.
Let's grow together, people.
I love you. All right, yeah. So, okay, there we go. So composition, my format, 12 by 16. It's larger than I would desire, but I use it because hopefully it's going to be more visible. The details are going to be more visible to you guys. 9 by 12 is what we suggest, or smaller. You can always do more paintings and then create a series and then do different sizes. But for this, I think this is what I feel comfortable. So I'm just gonna make sure I explain this every time, and I think I'm gonna change up the direction here and how to explain this. So what I'm doing first is I'm just creating a vignette inside of my format. I'm gonna make it even stronger. Oh, and by the way, I laid a dark blue background underneath the sunflower and the vase. And the reason is because Van Gogh purposely used temperature contrast to enhance the warm colors. So there are some experiments that he did. Sometimes he painted everything orange and yellow, but sometimes that cobalt blue, I feel like it's like cobalt blue. So he used it around anything that was warm in order to increase that. So I wanted to do 2 things. I wanted to bring a cold temperature in the background, and I wanted to bring a dark shade on the background, so the green would pop, because that green on the stem is really pale and powdery and fantastic. And so I didn't want to fade it, or I didn't want it to look faded against anything else. So, and then after saying that and the reasonings of that, and by all means, if you are 1 hour in and you decide to change your composition, please do. Hopefully any of the things that I said sparked anything that may be able to contribute to any positive changes if there happen. So I want to make sure that I explain this differently. I purposely leave a path around it because it's gonna happen. We're gonna start getting excited and engaged, and then compositionally, we're gonna feel like things are drifting off to the edge. Not a problem. Not a problem if we stand behind it, because otherwise, it's gonna read like we lost control of the arrangement, and then that you know, we were not able to rein it in. So make sure that whatever you do, spend some time. I don't care if we spend 2 hours or like an hour and 55 minutes figuring out the arrangement. It's better to spend time to make sure that we get something we're content with than spending 2 hours painting this to make something look like a sunflower. And then in the end, we realize that compositionally, this is not what we intended. It happens every single time. And it's something that I try to spend time with considering. So now that I have the vignette, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 2-axis lines. An axis line, if you watch this from the future, because we realize that sometimes we say things and we don't explain what they mean. An axis line, it's a core line that runs through a core line. That's it. It's a core line. It's the axis line of my forearm and wrist would be a line that runs through the forearm and the line that runs through the palm. So these are the 2-axis line. It's the purest simplification of an object, the simplest and the most essential. So what I'm doing right now is I have an axis line of the single flower and an axis line of the vase. And that's what I want to put, because this is my first stick figure here. I'm not even in the potato shape stage. And the reason is because I just want to find out if this is okay and if it fits this vignette that I did in order to prevent myself not to inadvertently spill out some of the forms outside of the format. I think that's good. And I think that's good. I also decided to choose one single flower instead of like a bunch. And for different reasons. Number one, I wanted to simplify my painting because I'm doing 2 things at the same time, painting and sort of like articulating my process, and it takes time. So that was the reasoning. And also because conceptually, I wanted to represent the idea of self, a single flower. I think not part of a group. And you can take that as openly as you want. Isolation, loneliness, detachment. I feel like anything single is able to explain that much better than within a bunch. But again, I mean, just trying to articulate and telling you that the concept is as important as the process. The concept is as important as the process. So I'm not gonna, purposely, I didn't add any images in the folder of the typical Van Gogh paintings of sunflowers. I don't want that to affect or, interact with my process, I guess. This is gonna be our painting with our style, and we're not trying to replicate anything. So I think that's also very important. I love, yeah, never mind. I'm on the potato shape stage right now. So working fast and trying to get that. Actually needs to be a little taller, that vase. I tried to find a blue vase, just because I wanted that color contrast. I couldn't find it. A white one to get also contrast. But then I found this one, and it just, I like the idea of transparency. I like the idea of a vase that would allow me to show that there's liquid inside, water, because I think conceptually that's something that I wanted to reinforce on my painting, out of the vase, out of the water, out of the, gasping for air. I don't know. No one will probably see that, but I think conceptually, I think it's good that conceptually, it's a good idea that conceptually we start thinking what we want to express with our paintings. Because this is ultimately, and you guys are all professionals, and if you're watching this from the future and you've never painted before, it doesn't matter. But at some point in our journey, in our painting journey, we need to move away from style and process and start thinking concept, narrative, intention, message. Because otherwise we would get stuck with process for the rest of our lives. And that's not That's not what this is about. Think of a story in your mind as you arrange. What do you want to express? Pretend that, you know, this is a show and tell, and at some point in our lives or whenever, someone's going to ask, what did you try to say with this? I mean, no one's going to ask, because the only question we're going to get is, how long did it take you to do this? So, but we need to be prepared to be able to say something else. Maybe we can submit this painting somewhere that's going to be asking us to do something about mental health. Maybe there's an open call about the pandemic. Maybe there is an open call about supporting charity or a cause. We have to be always resourceful and prepared with a story in our belt that can support the painting we submit. Because otherwise there will be a disconnect. Oh, well, there's a open call about how you lived 2020. And then we're like, okay, well, I don't know. I'm just going to put whatever I have. And that doesn't mean anything. But I can just put this and say, well, this is exactly me at August 2020 and how I felt. All right, so I'm slowly, I think this was very helpful. I advise you, I counsel you, I'm not going to say the word warn you, but I'm going to be close to it. Find out what you want out of your arrangement. Do you want to just feature the silent aspect of this being centered with a lot of negative space? Or you want this to be almost like a snapshot where something gets cropped. Maybe the sunflower, it's not even in the painting. Composition, arrangement is part of the process. So you can play with that and also express your intent and your what you want from this by not revealing and not centering. Omission, it's not a negative. You can eclipse something in your composition, and that eclipsing is what makes the painting really different. So I'm not just saying everything needs to be perfectly centered. I'm saying find a reason. Everything needs to have a conceptual reason, more so than ever before. All right, so I think I'm okay. You know what? I'm just gonna extend the stick, the end of the stick. I think that's good. Yeah, I'm gonna extend it. So I just wanna make sure that it's like a seesaw, right? Yeah. I wanna balance things. I know that there's something upright. I know that there's something flat. I'm actually going to bring in here my experience with the Nature Morte, Nature Vivante webinar. And you can look at the inspiration in the video, but I like that idea. That was a very special webinar. So I like the idea of bringing the essence of that. What was the name of the, with the style? Magical realism, the magical realism. The secret life behind the objects. It changed my life. It changed my life. And now, the reason why I'm doing this right now, it's because of that painting. And that's how I encourage you to go about with every single work you do. Carry what you learn from it. There's always a little fortune cookie message hidden inside of each painting. Grab it, put it in your pocket, carry it with you, and when another painting comes up, use it. All right, time-wise, yeah, I think it's not bad. So I even have, I'm gonna allow myself, how about that? I'm gonna allow myself to. Oh, for some reason, so a couple of things, Jen, on the list of research, if you can. I know that you're super busy. Number one is that I didn't have time to I didn't have time to do it in the video, but some scientists or researchers believe that Van Gogh suffered, I don't think it's the right word, from a visual condition that made him see everything really yellow. And there are two theories for that. One is that he drank too much absinthe. I think that's the name of the drink. And the other
Right.
one is something that actually happened with his eyes.
Okay.
If you can find that out, because there's a reason for it. That's number one. Number two, I wasn't able to research the fact that there was a development in the yellow pigment that he took advantage of. And that's the reason why he ended up getting so much yellow from his brother. He used to request or ask for materials, art materials, to his brother, Theo. He asked him, for money, but also for art supplies. Um, this is a total mess. I don't know why I did this. That's okay.
Okay, okay, but what about the yellow paint?
I think there's a reason why he was able to do the work that he did with yellow paint, because there was a recent advancement in the way paint was developed. The tubes were already there. I don't know if,
Okay.
because the tubes were introduced, I think, a little bit before. We're talking about 1888 or 1887 when he did
Okay.
the sunflowers. But I think there's a correlation between his use of so much yellow and the fact that something new happened to the paint. I don't know
With
if it was a
yellow.
new
Okay.
pigment or a new packaging or something like that.
Interesting.
And there is something about it, because I read about it, but I totally forgot.
Awesome. I also have a question from
Yes.
painters. Um, can you ask Julio what painting he was talking about with nature mort that changed his life?
I think it was the one of the cover. The one you can bring it up. The one that we used for the cover, the doll and the flower. Yeah, one of the doll series. One of the doll paintings that he did, and the inspiration for the webinar. I think that was the one we used for the cover.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, so you guys, if you are still sketching, which I hope you do, I'm gonna start squeezing my paint because I haven't had time to do it. And I'm just using Radiant White. I'm gonna keep everything organized. Radiant White, Portland Gray, medium, Payne's Gray, and then I'm just gonna start changing the order, because right next to Payne's Gray, I'm gonna bring Van Dyke Brown, Payne's Gray, Van Dyke Brown, the two blacks that we like to use right now. Don't worry if you don't have it, that's okay. Raw umber, you don't have to have anything, really. And yellow ochre. Oh, never mind, not yellow ochre. Burnt sienna. I like to go from darker to lighter with the browns. And now yellow ochre. I need to clean the paint around the screw. I think that's of the tubes, because it's starting to get accumulated and the caps are not closing in. That's not good. So I need to do some cleanup time. And then I have the light blue and the pink that I don't have it right here. I have it in the box, so I'll just do it in a second. I allow myself to bring some cadmium orange and cadmium yellow light, because there's going to be a lot of yellow and a lot of reddish tones. I don't want to bring red. I analyze the paintings, and there's not much red in them, and if there is, it's mixed with warm tones. So that's that. And then I have the Equality Orange. That's a color that we bought because they just launched it during the Black Lives Matter. They wanted to support the movement, so they just came up with this limited edition color. It's sort of like a pastel orange, and I'm gonna use it. And I'm not putting red, and I'm just gonna get some brushes. And I have them all in oil, which is wonderful because they're ready. And I didn't change. Okay, all right. So first, I'm gonna start with my wash. And I need ultramarine. Well, no, let's not use ultramarine blue, but I'm just gonna use Payne's Gray. And I'm gonna paint the entire background darker to lighter with Payne's Gray. This is oil paper. Yeah, it is oil paper, right? Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh, the things that happen. Yeah, it's all paper. Okay, good. So I'm staining right now. The purpose of staining, this is a very specific stage that happens after we do the dry stage, the dry medium stage. And what I want is to seal the charcoal, prime the paper. Yeah. Also, at the same time, Jen, I know I'm piling up, but in the video, I realized that I said I was going to read a section of a letter that Van Gogh wrote, saying how he felt. He wrote after they broke up. I mean, they broke up. The friendship didn't work out. The experiment didn't work out. And then he wrote a letter, I think from Tahiti, and
Is this
Paul
Gauguin
Gauguin.
you're talking
Yeah,
about?
Gauguin.
Okay.
Yeah. He wrote a letter and he said how he felt inside of that yellow room. There's a paragraph in one of the letters that explains something about the yellow curtains and the yellow room and the yellow flowers. And if you don't have it, I can send it, but I can send it to you. And I forgot to, actually, I'm just gonna, I think I have it. I'm gonna read it as I paint.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and then you can add it, if you can add the link or something in the recap notes, because it's really, it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Sure.
Let me see.
After you're done, I'll talk to you about the yellow.
Okay, okay. All right, this is, I have to read this. It's just so beautiful. This is Paul Gauguin writing a letter or a diary or, yeah, from Tahiti, remembering the time that they spent together, trying to come up with an artist colony, but it never happened. In my yellow room, sunflowers with purple eyes stand out on a yellow background. They bathe their stems in a yellow pot on a yellow table. In the corner of the painting, the signature of the painter, Vincent. And the yellow sun that passes through the yellow curtain of my room floods all this illumination with gold. And in the morning, upon awakening from my bed, I imagine that all this smells very good. And that's it.
Yay.
Okay, Jen, so tell us about yellow.
Okay, so basically everything is speculation because they don't know. So I'll tell you the main theory, but before that, I'll tell you some of the other theories, which are that he used to drink large quantities of absinthe, you're correct, as well as turpentine.
No.
Yes.
Drink turpentine?
Yes, and he said Van Gogh was known to drink large quantities of absinthe, though not enough to produce yellow color perception, as well as turpentine, which can affect vision but not color perception.
Holy crap.
Whatever the reason for Van Gogh's particular artistic choices, we can still appreciate his remarkable output from such a tragic short life. Okay, so.
Okay, all right.
That's scary because I don't even like the smell of turpentine. I can't imagine ingesting it. Okay, so the Guardian believes that that the most accurate explanation is that he might have been treated with digitalis, which is a compound that is squeezed into your eyeballs um, to be an effective treatment of dropsy. And dropsy is an accumulation of fluid in the body,
Oh.
um, which can also, let's see.
Was he treated like that in one of the sanitariums or hospitals that he?
That's a good question.
I know after this episode. Okay, go on, go on.
He also had epilepsy, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Of where he was treated by that. The thing is they don't even know if he was treated with it. They're just making assumptions. Let's see. It says, although he came under the care of several doctors during his lifetime, knowledge of diseases of the mind was in its infancy in the late 19th century.
Yeah.
As a result, many of the treatments used at the time would have been ineffective, if not potentially dangerous. So, yes, it says, towards the end of his life, under the care of Dr. Gachet, it seems that Van Gogh may have been treated with digitalis for the epileptic seizures he experienced. And it's extracted from foxglove plants and is a powerful medicine still in use today as treatment for certain heart conditions, but not epilepsy. So yeah, maybe it was one of his.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I think anything about the yellow paint that any breakthroughs at the time.
Not yet, but I only found
Okay.
this one so
No,
far.
that's really interesting because yeah, I know that there was a reason why he saw so many things in yellow. This was not I mean, it was not normal. I shouldn't say like that. But sometimes, you know, we give artists a lot of credit when it's important to find out that maybe the reason why they were so revolutionary, it's because they had some sort of a condition that made them look or see things differently. And I know that in Van Gogh, that was the case. Well, you look at this, and it's something that, to me, it's not important because a lot of people focus on Van Gogh and the damn ear that he cut off, and then that's, you know, that's it. The stigma of the quote unquote, which is now a word we shouldn't use, the crazy artist. You know, it's an ableist term, by the way, and I'm trying my best to stop using it because it's not okay. But anyhow, so after the breakdown of the episode, supposedly this is the time when he cut off his ear, and then he wrapped it up. I didn't know that. I know that there is a movie. I don't know if it just talks about it or not. He wrapped it up and he took it to a sex worker that he knew, apparently, and then she opened up the little wrapping and then she found the section of the ear, something like that. I don't know. You know, it's so sad because, as you said, the mental health knowledge was so not. It was in its infancy. Who knows what kind of like condition he had that was totally treatable, and then he didn't get the right treatment or whatever. Okay, so
Really true. I was listening to a podcast with Claire Danes. I mean, this is still off topic, but she, I mean, she's what, maybe 40, if that. And she went to, I want to say Yale and studied psychology yeah, psychology, I want to say. And even then, you know, this was in probably the late 90s, early 2000s. And she said, even then, it was still such a young study.
I'm gonna pick that relay.
Yeah, yeah. Here's the baton.
Yes. And I'm going to say that in a huge number of states in this lovely country, conversion therapy, it's still allowed, which means that some people believe that certain
Mhm.
normal sexual whatever are diseases. So I'm just going to leave it
Right.
at that
Ain't
point.
that the truth?
Anyhow,
Lordy.
so yeah. Sorry. Um, but yes, I'm just gonna grab some ultramarine blue because I feel like I need to amp that blue. And my strategy, I just finished my wash. I try not to use green. And Jen, interrupt me at any time if you come up with some interesting information. But my next step would be jumping into first notes. The purpose of the wash is to seal the paper and prime the charcoal, or rather the other way around, prime the paper and seal the charcoal. And yeah, I'm just gonna move to first notes, and that's gonna mean switching my liquids. I'm using mineral spirits, and then I'm also using medium mix with poppy seed oil. Sorry, my mind was racing forward. Turpentine was um, medicinal the thing before it became something more chemical. So there was a
Hmm.
usage of turpentine as a medicine before. So I wonder if that's the reason why he took it or they gave it to him.
Right. Not necessarily to
Yeah,
get
because he liked to drink it. I don't know,
right.
but I know we learned that from also one of the workshops, that we learned that the actual turpentine was a natural product that was used for treating stuff. And I don't know. All right, so I'm just getting some ultramarine and some pink. And I feel like instead of reds, I may get some Indian red and some I don't know. Well, I'm gonna make some alchemy, some paint alchemy with different warm tones and yellow, because I feel like I don't want to use red. And I need to put more. My painting is very dark around, so I need to put more Payne's gray. And I'm using Payne's gray and not Van Dyke brown because I want the cool black to show. And then my strategy would be now with first notes. I'm just gonna go around uh, the objects and try to enhance the dark and the color also, and then start drawing them from the outside. So that would be the strategy. And I'm using ultramarine blue. Ultramarine blue. Um, all right, because I really want to amp. Oh, it's too black. It's too black. It's too black. How can we make this? I think if I mix some of the light blue, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So, okay, what I did was, it's absolutely gorgeous. What I did was I needed a darker blue, but with a lot of colors. So I just brought Payne's Gray, Ultramarine, and those two together make black, which would have been a really interesting addition to the formula that we did on Tuesday. But I added a little bit of the light blue, the radiant blue, and it just creates a much lighter, equally intense color. So what I'm doing with this color, I'm gonna paint around and try to carve out some edges. So one of the things that I'm gonna try to articulate and explain that makes Van Gogh's painting so uh, powerful even today, um, I shouldn't have said that, so powerful, period. It's the fact that things don't feel wiry or static or rigid. There's a vibrancy of the strokes. Things are 100% not regular. They're not radiating. There is this intense volatile energy in the brushstroke. So I feel like I'm not gonna try to paint like Van Gogh, but I'm gonna try to get inspired by that and make sure that, or try to see if I can make any of the edges of my flower not have this sense of rigidity. I think that's a word, but be a little bit more vibrant. I think that's gonna be my goal here.
Okay, I found one article. No, this doesn't really answer your question, Julio, but they talk about the yellow and they talk about how some people think it's, you know, an overuse of digitalis or just digitalis in general that, you know, did this like we talked about before. Another thought process is that he was really inspired by Impressionists at the time, French Impressionist. But when they went back and compared his work, the color of his yellow with other French Impressionists, they were like, how can that be? Because he uses so much more yellow than any French Impressionist on record. So they kind of threw out that theory. And the last theory, which they did a lot of research for, is that he was just in a sunnier climate. So they compare where he was before and what colors he used in Paris and different cities. And then when he got to Arles, I guess, sorry, I clicked off the article, that the climate there was so much sunnier. He was in so much more sun and therefore took advantage of that. So I'm still searching because I know that that doesn't really.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, it's
The
interesting
theory.
that you know, people. Yeah, I think that's very cool. Yeah,
Could be. All right.
yeah, it makes sense.
Keep looking.
Yeah, he was born in the Netherlands and he grew up there, and then just if you can, and I'm just gonna say this because I know that, you know, Van Gogh, it's like so studied and blah blah blah, and I have almost a little bit of a semi allergy to not only bring up a dude but also someone who is like so mainstream. But I am learning a lot, so I think I'm just gonna put that aside, but and say that he grew up in the Netherlands, and then some of the paintings, the potato eaters, for example, they're indoor paintings with the light of a candle, and they're very dark and they're very gray, and yeah, and they're all about really poor farmers, and in very dim or extreme conditions. So I mean, going from there to the south of France, that must have been such a huge contrast in regards of the light. But at the same time, the Renaissance painters were able to capture the light of that area beautifully. I have to say, I mean, this is going to sound like so privileged, but I've been to Amsterdam once because it's close to, not too far from Spain, and anyhow, and the light is different. It's absolutely incredible. And maybe it's something that I don't know. The light's completely different to southern countries. I don't know what it is, but it is definitely different. It's definitely different. I don't know. Maybe there is something to it. The combination of like the contrast and also the fact that there's a completely different light. All right, so I'm just moving along, and it's gradually and slowly, I feel, developing, but at a very slow rate. I'm not worried because I know this is like smaller, and I'll probably need extra time to work on it, but I just want to show that working from the outside can move you forward with the drawing elements. So it's not just background paint and that's it. I think that's okay. I think what I'm going to do is this. This is my strategy. I came up with a strategy. The next 10 minutes until the first hour, I'm going to be working on the background, period. I'm not going to move anywhere else. I'm going to stick with it, and that's going to be my plan. And the way I'm going to break down the second hour of this painting, I'm going to dedicate half an hour to one object, half an hour to the other object. So that's sort of like my basic approach and strategy. And I recommend you guys come up with some sort of like approach, even if it's like broad guidelines or general strategy, just because it'll help you focus on things in a more equal way. So just as we did like with the Nature Mort, Nature Vivant, I'm not going to make a distinction between edge of table or anything. I'm just going to keep this just one thing, one background. I like that when we did that. Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm just making doodles on the background. You know, it's a lot of space, so I want to create variations of this. I realized that, never mind, but yeah, that's good. Yeah, so another thing, Jen, that you, if you can, because let me just preempt my request with this. I love to learn that when he moved away, yeah, let me just sort of like focus. He left the Netherlands because he thought he wasn't going to have any commercial success there. And because Paris is so close, so he decided to move there. His brother was already living there. Probably either his brother encouraged him or I don't know. But the fact is that he moved there. And I love that he chose this subject matter because obviously Paris didn't agree with him. He didn't like it, and he wasn't ready for it. So he started painting things that reminded him of the rustic context that he grew up with, the farmers, the work, the unsophisticated environment. Yeah, anyhow, I just want to mention that. And then I didn't have time to read about the symbology of the sunflowers because I feel like, you know, I want to find out what do the flowers symbolize.
Right.
Yeah, because I know that I don't know if it's going to be something that's going to be tied up with that aspect of earthy stuff. And maybe we can bridge a link between the symbology of the flower and why he used it to connect or to express how much he missed that rural environment that he grew up with. Obviously, this is the anti-city, the anti-sophisticated expression of Paris, you know. A rustic flower. I think there was a poet that talked about the roughness of the stick. It's rough and sticky and gross when you grab it. When you grab a sunflower, it feels gross. But at the same time, it feels real and authentic.
Well, it seems that he wrote to Theo saying that he has discovered a new yellow when he was in Arles. So maybe that was
Yes,
part of it. That's,
yes.
yeah,
I
that's the
think you're
only
onto.
quote. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe he just became obsessed with this quote, new yellow.
New yellow, new yellow. Do
But
you
it seemed
think?
to be something that he saw and not something,
Oh, not a paint.
because I looked up, it said that his most common use of yellow was chrome yellow. And so I looked up its invention or its
Right,
discovery or whatever
right.
it's used, and it was 1797. So that's almost 100 years prior.
Okay.
So that doesn't really work. Um, I don't know. I mean, some people are saying, maybe it has something to do with that maybe he was bipolar, maybe depressed, and maybe this yellow period was when he was in a brighter place. But
Right.
other people are saying that's ridiculous. So,
Okay. No, and this is fascinating for me because anything we read about any famous artist, I feel like it's never been from the perspective of a painter. And
right,
what we're
right,
doing with this, trying to dissect this, is because we are painters and we know that this can affect the process, which is something that it's not part of the conversation on the grand scheme of things or the mainstream conversation. It's all about the ear and all about his mental breakdowns. But I think this is all very interesting, Jen, in regards of like what if it was the paint, maybe someone needs to investigate if you got a new yellow paint of somehow or but which we now find out that it's not the case because the yellow that he used was already invented.
right.
But yeah, I find that like really really interesting because basically we're trying to connect with someone's painting process as painters ourselves and go beyond all the myth and nonsense. All right, so I'm just trying to create darker shadows underneath. There's a slight reflection on the paper, but this, I feel like this helped a little bit. I brought it in from the edge because it was starting to approach or gravitate or get really pulled by the side of the paper, and I didn't want it to. So I just shaved it off a little bit. And so composition is constantly in the back of my mind and making sure that if a red flag pops up, addressing that red flag and making sure that compositionally this makes sense. So I'm gonna keep myself another five to 6 minutes to see if there's something I could work here in regards of the shape from the outside. I think that's pretty much it. Trying to bring this shredded edge on the sunflower. And then there's a leaf that I'm gonna do later. Um, and I also I'm trying to work fast. I mean, that's something that I also learned from him recently. I would say within the last year. Um, he didn't take a long time to paint. He painted feverishly. In fact, the majority of his body of work was done in the last 2 years of his life. Um, so I thought that those paintings would take forever. I mean, I mean, Norton Simon has a lot of Van Goghs. And when you go and see them, you see them from the perspective of, oh, well, how long did it take him? It does, of course, they don't tell you that, which I think it should be somewhere. He didn't take that long. Just went for it. He went for it. Just it's nice. It's nice to. Whoops, that's really bright. So I'm trying to lift up some of the blue from the background. See if that's gonna work. and creating different directions with the strokes. I don't want anything to read like a mark or an object. So really circular or cross hatching, or but in order to prevent that look, I just go different directions. Why do I do that? I purposely don't want anything to read too graphic. I want to push it back. This is already nice. Yeah, we're just, I think that's a lot of progress. And I think I'm just gonna move to the next two steps on my painting. I'm gonna do the vase first, half an hour, whatever happens. And I'm gonna reserve the last half an hour for the sunflower. And I feel I like to approach things this way. Rather than just going from the jugular, I like to circle around. I like to circle around. I like to take care of things around it, background, shadows, and slowly gravitating towards what seems the focus. And then allow myself, the final step of or stage of the process is to work on that. Rather than the other way around. Okay, let's go for yellow, and then it's gonna start right away, yellow and orange. I feel like if I do that, I just the magic it's over. It's just, what else am I gonna do with that? That's done. And then I feel like the work with yellow or the work on that focus is redundant. So to avoid that, and knowing that I'm confident things will develop, I work around it. All right, so technique-wise, I'm using the same thing. And I would say this is still first notes, although I'm gonna try to introduce a little bit of a second note approach, which is creating more transitions and blending and a few details. But the idea, use the same medium, but I'm gonna work by location. Just gonna see what happens with this vase first. So darker to lighter. This is a much more, yeah. So I'm just gonna try to see where the darks are, and I'm gonna go for it. I don't care. That's whatever happens. That's fine. I'm just gonna try to have fun with this and enjoy the observational process right now. Try to look at the still life and see what it looks like. Pixelating it from darker to lighter. I see a darker spot right there. So I'm very clumsy, and in regards of applying paint, I'm not trying to be careful or anything like that. And then some gray. This is almost like green on top, but that's okay. I'm just gonna darker, there's some gray right here on the surface of the water. Always look at what you are using as a source, and spend more time observing than painting, because very easily we can just look for a second and then spend 5 seconds painting, and something else is going to happen. So I try to focus on direct observation always. That is the main thing here. The painting is a consequence of that. I don't want to do it the other way around, where I paint for 5 seconds and I look at the object to make corrections. So that's something that I know it would put me in a place of struggle and tedious work. Again, my work is to observe and spend time and find out, discover, reveal, extract, unfold. And then I let the painting sort of be the consequence of that. What I'm not doing is spending time with a painting and looking at the object to find what needs to be quote unquote fixed. No. So that's what I'm doing. And how do you do that? It's not just, you don't have to have a degree in that. Just spend more time watching. Spend a little bit of extra time observing, a little bit, more than painting, and see what you can unpack. Yeah, and then just bring a couple of strokes on your painting and see, it may not be alike, but it's going to be 2 strokes that are going to be much better than trying to build a lot and then looking at the image or the still life to fix. Yeah, so I slowly, just kind of like slowly, I trust, I don't judge what I'm doing right now, no judging. I'm telling this to myself, by the way, I should say that. So yeah, Jen, symbology of sunflowers, I think it was loyalty. I read something about it.
Yeah, so what I found was, according to the Van Gogh Museum, that the sunflower paintings had a special significance for Van Gogh. They communicated, quote, gratitude, he wrote. He hung the first 2 in the room of his friend, the painter Paul Gauguin, who came to live with him for a while in the Yellow House. Gauguin was impressed by the sunflowers, which he thought were, quote, completely Vincent. Van Gogh had already painted a new version during his friend's stay, and Gauguin later asked for one as a gift, which Vincent was reluctant to give him. He later produced 2 loose copies, however, one of which is now in the Van Gogh Museum.
Yeah.
That's from the Van Gogh Museum. I also found one from something in a museum in London that said they represented happiness. Let me keep going. But you said
just like the symbology, the outside of the his symbology. It's kind of like what they actually
what sunflowers represented.
Yeah, just like sunflowers, what they symbolize.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's good because, you know, I want to try to see if there's a connection between what he used them
right.
for, and then what the actual symbol of the flower is, and see if there's something there that.
Okay,
connects.
right. So just sunflowers.
Yeah, just
what worship. Worship and faithfulness in various religions because of their resemblance to the sun, which is associated with spiritual knowledge and the desire to seek light and truth.
Wow, that's beautiful.
One thing
And did you know, I was really shocked, and I should have mentioned that in the sunflowers are native of America.
Oh, yeah?
I had no idea. There are no sunflowers. Yeah. Can
and
you find out?
Yeah, I will. I'll find out.
Yeah, because I think they're also, I think we're close to the area where the sunflowers are native. I think the Southwest or something, but they're native flowers that they took.
They grow really well here, so that makes sense.
Yeah, they took to Europe, and yeah, one of those infamous trips, I guess, and they took they took potatoes, and they took sunflowers, but they're native of America.
Yay! There's one thing we got.
No, I should have mentioned that because it's also European centered, and you know, none of this Van Gogh museums and stuff, they don't touch that, and I think that is pretty significant.
I'm finding so many things that they symbolize. Adoration, loyalty, longevity, love, luck, lore. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people are just like, yeah, this is what I think. I mean, I guess that makes sense when you think about something.
Right, yeah, it's subjective, but yeah.
Someone's opinion.
No, I think that's good, but I'm glad that, yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, well, listen, yeah. Anyhow, thanks for researching that. I think that, you know, I don't know if we can connect it or not, but, you know, I think that's good.
Sure. And look up where exactly they began. Yeah, North America.
America, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, cultivated by American Indians in present day Arizona and New Mexico.
Oh, there you go.
You are correct, my friend.
Well, listen. Ha! That is
Mm-hmm.
significant if you ask me. That is very significant. And yeah, it's not mentioned. I wonder what kind of like influence. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, when were they brought to Europe? Let's just put it this way.
Yes. I'm reading about that now. Let's see. So first they were taken to Russia and then Canada. And then it's back to Europe. US acreage escalated in the late 70s to over 5 million because of the strong European demand for sunflower oil.
Oh,
Imported sunflower seed, and it doesn't give a date. Let's see. Okay, it was taken to Europe by Spanish explorers sometime around 1500. From my people to your people, Julio.
I love it. I
We're
love it.
connected by sunflowers,
There you
my
go.
friend.
Yeah, we're all connected. We're all connected. So I love that. Yes. Listen, I think it's important because, again, we're missing the point about that part of the story, which I think is significant. And also the fact that I feel like over the years, the sunflower, for whatever reason, ended up being a symbol of something not really fancy. And I feel like, the 60s and the 70s, there
Totally.
were so many paintings and objects and stuff like that. And now, we almost look at them with some sort of like disdain or, yeah, they're not really pretty flowers or something like that. So I just want to, I don't like that. I think it's good that we do this as a subject because we should own them and completely break down that stereotype, because I feel like were they symbols of peace or something like that also during the 70s or 60s, the sunflowers. I feel like
They,
that culture, the
yeah, they
hippies,
must
I
have
don't know,
been. Yeah, that those and the daisies. It's all that kind
right,
of look.
yeah.
They're Carl's favorite flower, and I always kind of was like, oh, really?
Oh,
Because yeah, I don't know. They've become kind of the carnation. Although I think carnations are really beautiful, but
right. It's
yeah,
all
that
it's all in the eye of
stereotype.
the beholder, I
It
think.
is.
Yeah. um And Sarah Jennings, I know she is here, but she told us that this is the official flower of Kansas. And then I tried to find out if it's the official flower of any other thing, but it's so rare that it's just I mean, one state, or I don't know. It's just I expected this to be like all over different towns or something like that, but no, it's just there. Um, but yeah, so what I'm doing right now, I'm checking the time, and I just trying to create second notes um, on the vase. So what I'm doing is going over, repeating trial and error. It's all trial and error, and trying it one time and see if that does it or not, and then doing it again. But I'm trying to build the darkness in certain spots so it matches the transparency. And I'm having issues with the neck and the opening. This is something I'm not happy about. I'm happy about the bottom, but not the top. But I have still 15 minutes that I'm gonna dedicate to this. So I'm gonna try to bring a different brush size and try a different thing. And part of this may be, not that I'm excusing myself, because the way I have this laid out on the, actually I need to change this. All right, I'm gonna make an experiment, you guys, and it's gonna take me it's gonna take me for me to leave for 1 minute, because the thing is that I have things flat and I have the fabric flat, and the fabric is not going behind all the way. So I'm totally interpreting the back of this section and imagining that's what it looks like. But there is a disconnect. I can see this at the bottom, but here I see the white of the pillows that I have on the bed. So what I'm gonna do, with your permission, is I'm gonna try to find a box or a can of garbanzo beans that we have from the infamous March go and raid the grocery store, and put it behind it, 2 garbanzo beans, to raise the fabric and see if that's gonna help me find out what the back. Oh, yes. All right. Thank you guys, and sorry about this, but yeah, I didn't have the blue behind and I was totally making something up. So I think this is going to work now. Let me just see if I find a different brush.
Okay, that was totally brilliant. I just want to give you some support in that because that was amazing.
Thank you.
I love that you had that thought of like, oh yeah, wouldn't just be white, you would see the blue.
Right,
I
no,
just
it's
wanted to
changed so much.
celebrate you.
Oh. All right, yeah, it's so different, and I never, it just came up because not because I thought of it, it's just, yeah, as I was painting it. But yeah. All right, so let's see if that happens. And I have white now, and the black, it's not sticking, because we talk about how when you have white paint underneath and then you try to darken it, it's not going to work because the white underneath, it's not. So it's happening right now. I'm trying to darken it. And so I'm just going to wipe it off and see if I can build it right now with a rag.
Leo, is it possible before you start or as you go, so we could see your setup, your still life setup?
Yeah, I put it on the, should I share the screen again? Let me share it really quickly.
Do you
Yeah.
mind? Okay, cool.
Can you,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
probably easiest.
what I was talking about. I put 2 garbanzo cans behind, and I raised the blue, because I was
Right.
painting this and it's just wasn't, yeah. So does that help? Does that help?
Yes, I think so. Just maybe a reminder of, yeah.
All right, so yeah, now I can, let's go for it. I have, yeah. Let me know if anyone wants to see something, the new, I just have to remove the phone, but actually I'm gonna do it right now. So you guys,
Okay, cool.
to see
Thank
the
you.
new, so this
Right.
is what I did. I raised the blue fabric behind it, and now I have blue behind that glass. I hope that was okay.
Thank you. That was awesome.
All right, good. All right, so yeah, I have time, 15 minutes, and I said half an hour, so I'm gonna see if I can harmonize or reconcile, I love that word, reconcile the upper part of the vase with the bottom part of the vase. Will it happen? I don't know. We're gonna give it a try for sure, and then we'll see if that's gonna happen. How am I doing it? I'm doing darker to lighter. Always bring the darker notes to anchor your points, and then you can always expand from those. And we'll see. I like the game of shadows right there. Yeah, so we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. I need to bring it in from the edge. Maybe making the neck a little bit. So it's amazing how the things that you see as you move forward, more things. That actually, it's much darker. That's gonna help. So I'll make a confession here because I was debating if I should keep it secret or not, but no, let's kind of like bring it all the cards on the table. I was running around in this house to get all the materials ready. And then I needed some paper, and then I just went to the back, and then I saw a plain paper, and then I just brought it. It's not cotton paper, it's acrylic. It's for acrylic. So the reason why you see this matte, it's because it's not cotton paper, which is better for oil. And I'm gonna continue. And the reason is because even though these first layers may be a little bit harsher and coarser because there's more absorbance of the paper, I'm not deterred by it because I know that whatever oil layer that I put right now, and if I leave it for a couple of days, then it'll be sealed. So my next session with this will truly allow me to uh, have less resistance with the oil. So right now I have much, much stronger resistance. And Lois, you probably sympathize with me because you had a painting at the beginning that was with acrylic paper and how much harder that was. So here I am. Yeah. Also, Darlene said something the other day that really got me. Because for better or for worse, you guys, for better or for worse, um, sunflowers are associated with clowns. It kills me. But yeah, unfortunately, that's sad because people don't like clowns. I like clowns.
You
But
do clowns.
say that again?
You do love clowns. Remember the series that you did? It was so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But there's this association of sunflowers and clowns that's not really helping the flower. It's
I
okay.
had never heard that before, and then she said she couldn't even look at one. Yeah.
I didn't think of it before, but then it was a spell. She put a spell on me when thinking about that. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, that's right. But more reason to root for them. When again, I love rooting for the underdog of anything. Something about it that I feel um, more like even more strongly about it. So yeah, so be it. Let's just own it and then root for that. Yeah, observing. I have time. I have time. I have 10 minutes. So I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna give up. Just gonna continue this. The neck starting to get shaped a little bit. There's something wobbly or weird about the opening, but I made progress. Seeing that's how I'm looking at this. I made progress. This reads green, and I think it's the glass. I'm actually gonna bring some green, sap green, because it's the nature of the glass. And I want to create a really pale green because I feel like that's gonna help me on top. But not bad. I'm happy. I'm happy about it. It's not bad. See if I can bring some of the blue mixed with that sap green and create, oh yeah, that's a good color. It's a good color. Again, how do I move forward when I feel like stuck? I stop and I look. And I know that by looking, I will extract a piece of information that I didn't have that's gonna allow me to get unstuck. Observation. I don't use the image to fix. I use the image as a source of info. I think that needs to be brought down. I'm going to cut this from the outside and bring it down. I need to bring this down. I'm shaving it from the top. I'm molding that edge. This is all drawing, you guys. Drawing and a little bit of like shape. This is a little, I'm getting close to something that I could stand behind. Yeah, I'm getting a little closer. This is why I love painting, because I feel like it's something that it allows me to create. I love the actual creative aspect. I can be struggling and thinking and being frustrated, but then um, I think differently. I persist. And I feel so engaged. It's the perfect solitary game. I don't need anyone to have fun. I mean, sorry. I mean, uh, I love doing this together, but I'm trying to explain that this is the fun of it, you know, and how and the reason why I love this so much, and the reason why it's so healthy for our brains. All right, there's more green right up there, and it just makes a turn. The green makes a turn. I'm gonna try to make that turn with the green and see if I can capture that super highlight here. Yeah, it's not bad. They're both sides. They're a little bit off in shape. What do I need to do? I think I need to bring this in a little bit more. Yeah, I'm shaping. It's almost like having a piece of clay on top of the wheel, and then holding that clay and trying to balance both sides so it doesn't lose its shape. So that's what I'm trying to do here with this. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. I have time. I have 5 minutes. I need to darken this area a lot more. I'm gonna go back and then redo it again. Redo it again, meaning I go back to the darks and see if I can just find something in the darks that I can um, advance, incorporate. Um, yeah, and then there's some green. Yeah, I love this so much. This is the fun of the painting process for me. All right, well, that definitely made more sense than what I had, which was something crazy and not reconciled. So I feel I was able to reconcile the upper part and the bottom. And now I can just continue building. I'm going to stop because I want to move to the sunflower. But I feel like now this will allow me to continue building a little bit. I can just use a brush, and now with medium, I can just, I'll do the final touches with just medium because I just want to soften some of those hard edges so it looks more like reflection. Yeah. Again, this paper, the acrylic paper. It's just a pain in the butt, but no reason why. Oh, something changed. Oh my gosh, the bottom totally changed. The bottom totally changed, you guys. Raising that thing just made the bottom less light. Wow. Oh, totally makes sense now. I'm reconciling the bottom of the vase with the top. Amazing. Amazing how things affect um, anything that's a lens-like. It affects the rest of the highs and lows in the painting. All right, so I'm gonna stop here. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Good. I was able, this was a good challenge because of the paper number one, and also because of the glass number two, but that's enough. I think this is a really super solid. I still feel like I need to work a little bit. I feel like this is not as strong as the bottom. So I would definitely have to go back here later, but I'm stopping right now because I'm sticking with the strategy, and that's the reason why having a strategy is so important, because otherwise you can get carried away and then burn up all your creative juices, your stamina, your mental focus, and not have enough to do the rest of the painting. So I know that I said half an hour. I know I need to work on it, but chapter closed. The next half an hour will be on I love this painting, you guys. Give yourselves a lot of credit. As I said before, you heard me many times. When I am alone with my practice, I give myself a lot of compliments. I celebrate any achievement. I rejoice in finding solutions. It keeps me thrilled, and I have uh, adrenaline rush when that happens. So yeah, it's important. Of course, at the end, I still don't feel 100% secure. There's always that doubt, that permanent doubt. But in the process, I learned to give give myself credit. All right, so how are we gonna do this? I have half an hour, and how do we want to do this? So I feel like the yellow will be the end. And I'm gonna go darker to lighter. So there are two components. I'm gonna work on the darker area of the sunflower because I think it's gorgeous. And I'm gonna use Van Dyke Brown for it. Yeah, that's a really warm black. It reads black, so really warm black. And it's gonna be perfect. And then maybe some yellow ochre. So that's gonna be my strategy. I feel I wanna give some color green as a background or as a base. And then I'm gonna do the yellows and oranges on the petals. Let's do that. So 3 steps, darker to lighter. Let's bring this gorgeous Van Dyke Brown and start creating those dark notes with the Van Dyke Brown, the burnt sienna. Yeah. Pixelating. I think that's okay. Squinting my eyes because what I do is I try to observe the black area, the dark area of the sunflower as a shape. So I try to not think of it as something that's covered by petals or something that's hiding. I actually try to isolate everything outside of that dark space and see it as an object. And that helps me a lot, actually. So I'm just going to bring some, let me see, yellow with Van Dyke Brown. How about that? It reads very green. So it's not green. So I'm going to bring a little bit of orange. Yeah, I think that's good. Oh, yeah. So I used Van Dyke Brown like as a black, warm black. And when I brought yellow, cadmium yellow, it read too green. So I just felt like I wanted a temperature that was a little warmer. So I just brought in some orange in it. All right, got it. So I think I'm just gonna try to give some touch-ups here. And again, seeing this, it'll be, I mean, later, I would love to ask everyone, did you guys, any of you, did you ever see these sunflowers from Paris? Because I feel like a little bit dumb not seeing them. I don't remember seeing those sunflowers from Van Gogh, the ones that he painted from Paris. So yesterday I was like kind of like talking about it, and I felt like I should have known, but I've never. Jen, did you ever see those sunflowers before?
I haven't, and I went to a wedding a few years ago in like the French countryside.
Yeah.
So I was, able to get out of Paris, and still, I don't remember seeing them. I don't know. I can't remember what time of year I was there, but maybe October. But I don't remember
You
seeing
mean?
seeing some flowers.
Oh no, no, I'm saying about the paintings,
Oh, the paintings.
The Van Gogh paintings. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Yeah, that also. It's yeah, but the Van Gogh paintings, the actual.
Yeah. No, that was the first time I'd seen those as
Yeah,
well.
I just feel the same way. I've never seen them before. So, which is really weird. I mean, not weird, but it just shows.
Yeah, I listened to this podcast by Malcolm Gladwell, the author of The Tipping Point and Talking to Strangers. He has a podcast called, oh shoot, now I just forgot the name of it. Oh shoot, I'll look it up.
Okay.
But Revisionist History. Revisionist History is the name of
Okay.
the podcast. It's really amazing. It started with this season 5, I believe. And the first, I want to say 2 episodes are about art museums and about how they operate as a business and how they are inherent hoarders of artwork. And it is fascinating, Julio. I thought of you, I thought of the Broad, I thought of all the conversations that we've had. And so it's a 2-part episode. And the second part is about this painting of carnations by Van Gogh. And it follows the path of the owners of it and how it got to a particular museum and essentially in storage there. And it's a painting that's been kind of passed around because it's small, it felt really insignificant, but it's still by Van Gogh. And yet what's interesting is how many art museums are willing to have it, like to keep it in their storage, but that it's not significant enough for them to display. And so they hold on to these things with this hoarding mentality that they don't want anyone else to have it. But at the same time, it's not significant enough
Wow.
for permanent collection.
Wow. Interesting.
So anyway, you guys, if you want a good listen, Revisionist History, and it's season 5, and it's episodes 1 and 2 of season 5.
Okay. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, I think that's
That was totally off topic, but I've been meaning to
No,
say.
it's not because, I mean, in a way, museums are telling stories. So this is a way of someone telling a story, their story. But their story may be a story, but not the story that someone else would want to read. So by curating or revealing, they are exercising or they're just telling their own narrative. But it connects with
Completely.
this because I've never seen this anywhere, these French ones. Why? Because maybe this don't sell as many museum entrance tickets as the other ones.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm assuming it right now, but based on what you just said, that's possibly one of the reasons why those are not really out there or seen or,
Right. Because it's not one of the
associated with.
biggies. Yeah, it's fascinating. It also talks about the idea of ownership of art and how, especially after World War II in Germany, when so much art was seized and taken away, from people that there's this idea, not idea, but there's this, search for this, this artwork that used to belong to families and generations. And there's this, need now to, track it down, to find it by any means necessary. And now there's so many more tools to find, this artwork. And there's no, I guess, legal need to give the artwork back to families, which is why so many museums hold on to them, because essentially there's no pressure from a legal system to,
Return.
yeah, to return it. But there's an interesting story of this one family that the grandmother was a huge art collector and had so much work, and that this one like granddaughter is trying to track it down. And we're talking about, generations, and now the family lives in Australia, and kind of their quest to get all the pieces back and all of the communication they've gotten from mainly museums. It's not even private, acquisitions. It's mainly museums that have this work that refuse to give it back. It's really fascinating. I thought of you and the British Museum.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So interesting. Yeah. I mean, every year, sometimes, I mean, we're so saturated with news, but sometimes one of these hundreds of cases, I want to say, kind of like makes it to a little higher in the news cycle. And then we can, yeah, we read about it. Um, um, yes. So thanks, Jen. That was like really interesting. And yeah, I was curious because I felt really dumb of not seeing those. But yeah, thanks for that um, context. And what I'm doing right now, I did the darks. I'm following the strategy that I set myself up for. Darker part of the sunflower, and then I just created a green using sap green, and then the light blue, the sap green and the light blue, and it just was the right tone. It was the right tone because it's not too vibrant. And what I did, I'm just trying to create more of a less static stick, because I feel like, otherwise this will be too rigid. I feel like I have to go back and then carve it from the outside. I like these little knots. They need to be more pronounced on my painting, because I think on the still life, yeah, they are significant and interesting. And I also some of the leaves backing the petals. So it's very basic, but it just helped me to build, and I think that's enough. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna try to paint with, let me see, I need to clean my brush because otherwise it's gonna be like way too green. So yellow with a tad of orange. It's definitely not just yellow. Yellow with a tad of orange. And I think that's the color I'm gonna use. I'm gonna try to draw this first. Yeah, I'm gonna try to draw the edges of it first. Let's see if I can just do this, see this as a shape. And then I'm gonna try to add more of that yellow on top. I mean, the variations of yellow. So I'm doing basically right now, essentially first notes. Single yellow, and try to create a shape. Yeah. This is fun, you guys. Thank you so much for this. I love it. All right, so, and then I'm gonna do the shape outside. So I'm just doing the shape. I'm not worried about what yellow, lighter, darker. I'm just fine with it. I just want to do the silhouette, if you will, of that shape. And then once I have a silhouette, I will go in and try to create lights and darks. because there's so much texture in that yellow that I want to take advantage or be efficient, time efficient. Really, that's what it's all about. Be time efficient right now, and yeah, and just bringing that shape of pretending that it's a single object. And then I'll go in, I'm even gonna paint this, all of it with yellow. I'll go in and I'll create variations. Okay, so here we go. That was the shape. I'm gonna bring the green. This green needs to be brought in from the outside, shave it in. And from this area right here, I'm trying to work that separation between the leaves behind. And then I'm gonna bring the blue, ultramarine blue. Ultramarine, I'm using a lot of ultramarine for this. Does it make the yellow pop? Yeah, I think it does. I think I'm not unhappy, as Luchita Hurtado famously said, I'm not mad. And I love that quote because to me, it's the definition of what it means to be happy in 2020. That's the benchmark. The benchmark is so low these days that being happy, I define being happy using Luchita's words as not being mad. So that's my favorite thing now. I'm not mad. That means I'm so happy in 2020. Sorry, that was I'm not. Thank goodness I'm not trying to make money being a stand-up comedian, because I wouldn't make anything. All right, so I'm bringing some blue, and I'm trying to create more distinction between those edges. See, what I'm trying to do is, again, work around it, like go around the bush. So save this as a spot, and I have 15 minutes. I'm not rushing, but I feel like taking care of the edges and the form is more important than bringing some light yellow right now. Notice that I'm reserving the fireworks or the sparkler to the last minute of this, the last minute. And it's all about the work that I can do around it to make sure that once that sparkler goes off, then it feels supported by the work or by the context. Because I could be here until the cows come home, adding yellow after yellow after yellow, hoping that that's gonna create the ignition of the yellows, but it's not gonna happen. We have to take care of the background. We have to take care of the background, so when we actually do the different yellows on top, then things will make sense. So don't worry, this is not about yellow. We should have started this, the session with this statement. Sunflower paintings are not about yellow. They're about everything else but yellow. And then the yellow, it's just the icing. Whoops, sorry guys. This shouldn't happen, but it just happened. Whoops. I feel like I'm in Apollo 13 or something. There's so much going on between the still life and I love using iron boards as tables. So I have a bunch, I have two, not a bunch. But yeah, it feels like a space capsule. All right, so this is good. I'm taking care of those edges. I don't want anything to be super regular. I remember I mentioned earlier, one of the things that I find more interesting is the fact that nothing feels plasticky or rigid in his paintings. Everything is moving. Everything's moving, even though they're brushstrokes. The paintings feel like moving. They're just magical. Not that I want to replicate that, but I just want to take the essence of it and apply that principle. Make sure that things don't feel like plasticky, rigid, and taking care of those things, those edges will help us do that. Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Okay, so I think we have 10 minutes. I think I'm gonna go for the lighter yellow, and I really need to clean my brush as much as I can. I need to clean my brush, and I need to bring the cadmium yellow, and I'm gonna bring white, because I want now a whiteout effect. It's too pale, so let's bring some orange. That's too salmon. Let's bring some yellow. I think that's gonna be it. Okay, just made a bunch of paint right here. Let me see if it's bright enough. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, so I'm just applying it in certain spots. I'm not blending it. I'm not stirring the pot. I'm gonna try to just apply a few lighter strokes here and there, just a few lighter strokes. Almost like confetti, or yeah, so they feel sprinkled. The highlights feel sprinkled, because if I blend too much, if I go back and forth and blend too much, it will feel plasticky. So literally, I'm just doing one stroke at a time and then just laying it there, one stroke. That's my approach to this. And again, I think this is working. It's lovely. It's wonderful. Yes, I think it's working. I think it's working. I think it's working. This is my very first ever sunflower painting in my entire life. Wow, I can't believe it. And I'm gonna put my pride behind it. I will work on this until I make it as spectacular as I can. There, this goes kind of like my ambitious side. I want to make sure that this reads. I want to own it. This will not be just an exercise. I'm here for this. Okay, yeah. The camera, the compensation of the camera doesn't really capture all the, because there's also, let me see if I can just, but I'll show you, I'll upload a photo and you'll see the highs and lows a little bit better. There's something really cool also about this edge. Is a little bit uneven. So I'm just gonna bring that unevenness. I'm gonna bring some orange. Yeah, sure, bring a little bit more orange. I can tell you right now, I do not need any red. I don't need any red whatsoever for this. Maybe I do need a little bit of that burnt sienna, the reddish brown and yellow. Oh yeah, that's a wonderful orange. Wonderful. In certain spots though, not everywhere. And some orange feels very green. What if I mix some orange with a tad of the sap green? Oh, absolutely. What a discovery. Make a greenish orange. Some of the shadows on that, on those petals are greenish. So I'm mixing some sap green. Perfect, wonderful, as a cast shadow. Really great addition. If you want to create a darker orange, bring some of the green in it and then apply it at the core, overlapping shadow, the petal flipping to one side and creating a cast shadow underneath. I'm speechless. No. That I love making this kind of discoveries. Love, love, love. We haven't played with orange or warm tones in a long time. So this is so interesting to me to discover and find out warmer orange, cooler orange. I'm gonna bring some of the sap green, and right now just bring it on the back. I feel like the leaves need to be come in, they need to come in a little bit more. So how can I make that green darker? I'm gonna use the Payne's Gray and the yellow ochre. I think that's a darker green. Yeah, I think so. I need to make that green darker in certain spots. And again, bringing the background. I need to trim this because it's too plasticky. I need to trim it and make sure that yeah, so that flower, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think my strategy worked in the sense that I dedicated a certain amount of time. I still have like 5 minutes, and I think I'm gonna take the 5 minutes to work on that leaf in the background because it needs a little bit of like TLC. It's to I'm gonna do the veins. I think the veins on the leaf, they're gonna help me create a sense of the leaf being like twisting and going over. So it's lifeless. It's not a fresh leaf. Sometimes we have to think in regards of like the gravity meaning like the weight of things and how things in their inertive, I don't know, lifeless form, how they um, uh, cascade or droop or fall. This is as important as anchoring or making them, because otherwise everything will look ballooned or inflated. You know, it's like we pumped air in all the shapes and they all look like, and that's not the case. Certain things are rigid and plump, but on this, there's no plumpness. I think that's, so what I'm trying to do is to create this idea of not being propped up or inflated. A little bit more towards that direction, but still a long way to go. So I probably would need to do that. All right, so I'm gonna start wrapping up, and I'm gonna tell you what the rest of the session is gonna look like. I probably need to bring a thinner brush because something important that I didn't do. It's the section of the section of the sunflower. To me, that is key. Yeah, it's too wide, but I need to work on that. I need to work on that big time. Um, so what I'm gonna do is, and please let us know if you need any help, but we're gonna take a 10-minute break because this was super intense, and we are going to encourage you to stretch. First of all, drink water, take whatever breaks you need, but mostly stretch. And before the 10 minutes, it would be fantastic if you could take a snapshot of your process, or your stage rather, your stage, and you could upload it to the folder. Um, if you can do that, great. If you can't, we can resend the folder to you, or you can text the images to Jen, and we'll do that. After 10 minutes, we will reconvene, and we will answer any questions that you may have, or if you have any notes. You can also do something to speed up the process. If you have any questions, you can type your questions or your notes next to the photograph that you upload. So that way, when we go to your stage or your snapshot, we can also discuss it. And yeah, every single piece of work that you may upload, it's going to be in progress. So the reason why we're doing this is because we are trying to help everyone, not only the person who's courageously uploading, but all of us benefit from that. So we encourage you, if you can, upload it. It's good for all of us. Don't think like it's just, one person benefits and that's it. Um, so yeah, I think that's it. Take a picture of the still life if you have it. So you're gonna have that if you need it for studio time later. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a picture of this, upload it, and then I know the flower is probably gonna continue drooping, so I need to make sure. And that's it. All right, so I'm gonna pause the and hello, and we're back.
Hello.
Hey, how are you, Jen?
I'm great.
Okay. Any questions, any issues, any comments that came up? No.
Not that I have seen, but that might all change.
Okay. Yes. All right. So I'm gonna start sharing. I'm gonna share the screen, and I took a photo of the painting. I'll go really quickly. You can appreciate a little bit more the differences between the yellows that I added. And yeah, so I know what I want to work on next for next time. I just took pictures of the still life because the flowers, I mean, during this 2 hours, the petals have been uh, covering the flower even more. So yeah, I took a lighter picture with a light setup and a dark setup. So I think that's basically, yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna work on the leaves. I'm gonna work on making the stem a little bit more interesting and cylindric. The opening of the vase. I want to give more blue to the background, perhaps, and a sense of like a point of contact. I think compositionally, I'm okay with it. Yeah, so that would be my observation here. And I know that Hania um, didn't reach out. Ooh, this looked really good. This looked really good. And I'm gonna go, wow, nice setups, you guys. We don't have anyone from the UK. Oh, Claire, this looks beautiful. Yay. And so,
No UK and no Dina
okay. And no Laura
and
and
Karen.
Karen for now. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna start with this one, if you don't mind. So I'm just gonna do Sarah Jennings. And so this is a beautiful image. And yeah, so it's facing forward. It's a different, there's different things going on right here. So, and then I know that I put the painting right next to this one. Let me just bring it up and then see if we can just go over it a little bit. Let me just go back before. and see if we can put it side by side. And so Sarah, you have like different, oops, sorry, different challenges here because compositionally this is facing forward, and so oh, I cannot, well, hold on a second. Let me just see if I can just put it, okay, now, 1 sec. Oh, it just keeps jumping. All right, 1 second. 1 second, because I want to put it side by side just so we can get more information about here we go. Oh, got it. Okay, so, and now here we go. All right, so yeah, compositionally, this was very specific in that sense, completely radically different and good, because that's very important. I don't know if that's a real image or, yes, that's a real image, but it's already cropped on the edges. So yeah, yeah, so I would say even crop it further because right now it just feels like it's squeezed between both sides. Look, this point is touching the edge, and this round point right here, it's also touching the edge, but it's not as pointy because we made it rounder so it could fit that edge. So combining that with the other side, it feels squeezed into the two frames. It's too much on the, I mean, I know that I'm very harsh, but it's too much on the bleed of the paper. Um, so compositionally, it's, you have that. I mean, I would even go like either off the page or try to incorporate, look at this zigzagging on the side. It's just kind of like zigzags. Um, break it up. This is too much of a repetition. Break up that those two petals, bring them in a way that they feel overlapped, but try to make them distinct. Because right now you have, not only it's very regular, it's squeezed, but it's 1, 2, 3. It's sort of like right. They feel right next to each other, even though there is a little bit of the edge going over. So I would say that, and then yeah. So if I were to take this in black and white, this photo in black and white, it just feels like the whites are not popping enough. So to make it pop more against the background, I personally find the background more interesting. I love the direction of the fiber. I love the bluish elements. So to me, that is the strength of this painting, and I really like it. I really like it. I would even enhance it further. I just feel like the fiber could be more purplish. Um, I also feel like the red in the background, it's not helping you because you're bringing that red, by using red, you move the red front stage, or front row rather, front row. So it just, the painting, it's getting squeezed from the edges, and it's getting smashed from the red behind it. Um, and I'm gonna stop right here because you probably are gonna say, screw this shit. Julio is really mean to me today. Sarah, no.
Actually, the enhancement of the colors is much brighter than the actual. So everything is really taken down a notch or two in the actual. And this is an exercise in, not an exercise in futility, but knowing that it is the first pass, because a lot of the colors were absorbed by the paper and the mineral elements. And I always find that something that has color pops, I have to do an entire second session in order for the colors to come out. In taking the picture, I enhanced the contrast so that you could see the contrast, because the actual one is a lot more faded. And I love the fact that I can go really off the page, because that's much more in keeping with conceptually what I thought about when I picked the sunflower, which was a direct confrontation of the eye. And muting the background and bleeding it off the page will really transform it. And thank you. I think you're right.
Fantastic. You know, this is a painting that you have to continue working on it, because it is with this kind of like challenges that we actually get to grow a lot. So I'm really excited about this. I just cannot wait. I just feel like it's a great opportunity for growth right in here. I agree with you. And another thing that you can reserve this for when the paint is a little bit drier. But I feel there are two things here that um, that I see that you can break. Um, so it's facing forward. I love the idea of the eye. Conceptually, you got me. Done. Perfect. This is something brilliant, and I love it. I feel consider the conforming brushstrokes, because there's one thing that's really clear about the radiant aspect of the flowers, and the fact that they're painted in a very conforming way. When you go back to it later, um, see if you want to break that conformity on the strokes, or if not, if you want to enhance it, because that's what you're interested in conceptually. But I think that's something that you could incorporate in your thought process, because the brushstrokes feel very long and very uniform to the edges.
Okay, that's great. I look forward to working on it. I know I have a lot to do on it, but it's very challenging because this is actually a fake flower and it's part of a wreath. And the background is actually twigs. So I feel like there's a lot that I can be doing with this.
I cannot wait. And the background to me, it's like right now, it's just amazing, because I feel like that really gives you the right amount of um, the elevation to the flower. Because imagine the flower the way it is and the way that it's sort of like on our face. With a flat background, it would be way too flat. But the fact that you brought this texture and it reads like a round, it's really elevating the painting a lot. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Okay,
Really
thank you.
excited.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sarah. Yeah, I just cannot wait. Um, all right, awesome, perfect. Yay, amazing, incredible. I'm just gonna do another refresh and see if yeah, we're just gonna uh, see if there's any more updates. Kathy, I'm just gonna go to you. Oh, this is so lovely. I like love this. All right, let me just pause this for a second, and then I am going to see if I can just put it right next to the photo, and see if we can just see if we can get some more information about it. It's lovely. It's lovely. I'm excited. Okay, let me see. This is so Kathy. This is the image. I love that image. So warm. There's so much warmth in it, redness, and it's really warm. And I love it, and love the composition so much. This is what I absolutely love about this painting. The fact that you brought in the chair in the back. Amazing. Because you could have just done the sunflowers and the ceramic pot and the table, and that's it. So the chair to me, it makes this painting brilliant. But I have one comment, a couple of comments, but the most important one, compositionally, you created something extraordinary, the sense that this is in a room, because by bringing the chair, not only you brought depth, but you brought the fact that there's a floor underneath that table. So there's a whole sense of a spatial context that I feel it just elevates the painting. But conceptually, I feel like, again, this is so close to the edge, so close that it feels unintentional. And that's it. You can, I wouldn't move anything or change anything, but I just feel like that feels very squeezed to the edge. The petals are really close. So I wish there was either a little bit of room to see that color of the room nicely framing the background, or the flowers completely go off the page. Because right now it doesn't feel like you really intended it this way. And to my eyes, no one's gonna read it the way I'm reading it right now with a magnifying glass. And it's something that it happens all the time. Arranging, I feel like we need to spend like more time thinking about these things, because right now, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Am I being too mean? Um,
I'm open. Oh, I
yes.
can, you can hear me. Oh, no, it's okay. I started sketching before you talked about arranging, and that's actually would have been good for me to pay more attention. But as you can see, I chose just part of the photo, you know.
Right, yeah, yeah.
And my criticism is that the leaves are actually too big. It seems like the petals, it seems like I should go in and make the center bigger, but I think I would mess it up.
Yeah, no, oh,
See? Yeah.
yes. You know, I learned that one of the things that I've learned is that there are like hundreds of, I think hundreds, well, I don't know, I may be wrong, of species of sunflowers.
Yeah, hundreds at least. Yeah.
So I had no idea. There are black sunflowers, the red sunflowers, the ones with the smaller core or bigger core. Are these natural?
Yeah,
This,
I bought them in Bristol
oh,
Farms last night. Yeah.
listen, they are extraordinary because they're not the typical ones that I've seen. You know, mines are from Trader Joe's. These are next level. So absolutely, I would even make it more dramatic. Make the disc inside bigger, because these sunflowers are definitely different. And I would just play with that aspect. Make it bigger, because that is so operatic. They're so dramatic. I love that. So yeah, make them bigger. And then things that I would also do if you wanted to work on this a little bit further. I love the way it is right now. This is just so delicate and beautiful. But if you wanted to bring some elements, two things. I love this spheric concept or illusion of the vase. There's a crescent, darker area on the side, and then you can see the light direction. This happens on the vase and it happens on the table. There's a darker crescent shape on the side and a light reflection on the table. I would definitely consider bringing that maybe on the vase and the table, just to create more of a sense of a volume.
Shadow. Yeah, shadow.
Yeah, yeah. But I love this painting. I love I love the flowers. Absolutely love the flowers. The chair, Kathy, the chair is brilliant. Brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Anyhow, so if you can work on it, if you cannot, then no problem, that's fine. But it's worth working on it a little bit more, because to me, it's a very interesting painting the way it is right now. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Kathy. And I need to, Kathy, did you go to the Bristol Farms on Doheny?
Yeah. Do you go there sometimes?
Sometimes. I'm gonna go right after this and see if I can find those.
Oh, they had a lot. Yeah, they had them in Ralph's, and when I went over, they were all gone at Ralph's. So I went over to Bristol, but these were, yeah, they actually are nice.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they're super cool. All right, so I'm just gonna, Lois, how are you? I am gonna see if there's a photo of this. Did you upload a photo?
So these are from my garden.
Ah.
I had high hopes of major sunflower beauty. At the beginning of COVID, I planted them from seed.
Oh.
And they were so wimpy and just keep dying and getting eaten by squirrels and just like, and there was one that kind of survived today, but I have definitely what is that called? There's a term for Instagram when you want to be there and it's like a condition now. Jen, do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that?
Is it like FOMO?
FOMO. FOMO. Have you heard of FOMO? I have sunflower FOMO big time.
No, these are so amazing. What are you talking about?
I know. But you made me see them as this beautiful thing, and so I tried to like just highlight them. And I got this new hat yesterday and tried to make this story. And then I think I got a little confused with my story and Van Gogh's story. And I was like trying to paint like him while trying to paint my story, and I kept putting this hat in, and every time I put the hat in, it looked like a Hallmark card or Holly Hobby, which was upsetting. And so I really just tried to.
Okay, that was funny.
But you know what I mean? Like I was just
Sorry, get on that monologue. I wanted that was brilliant.
Say that again, Claire?
Process.
And then I had this, I mean, really, this sunflower is so deep. It seemed so simple. Like we're artists, we're gonna paint sunflower like it's like paint night with the ladies and wine.
Right.
But it was so deep and so more into that and then I shared with Jen, because she's from Chicago, there was an amazing exhibit that changed my life, and I put a photo of the book, and I bought the book of the time in France where Van Gogh and Gauguin spent together. So you'll see it. So then I just kept referencing, there it is. The most amazing exhibit I ever saw in my life. And I remember every moment from it. And I've had the book on my shelf collecting dust forever. And you made me get it out and bring it to life. And so I've been looking at that. So my painting is loaded. It has too many things going on, which you can tell. But I think I can bring it back now that I've been able to express all the things. But and it was a challenge. It was wonderful. I didn't use any medium, which I'm usually very heavy on medium and glazes, and just tried to really build from dark to light. And did he use white? Because every time I used white, it took it out of Van Gogh land completely.
Yeah, this is the thing. I have to say thank you so much for sharing all this, because I think I personally empathize, and I know that everyone else does as well. I love the fact that you expressed how your intentions, and almost there's a sense of being so overwhelmed by so many wonderful things that in the end there wasn't anything concrete that you could actually stand behind.
Yes.
And I just feel this is so honest and genuine and wonderful. And I'm just going to try to see if I can say a few things that hopefully can build on what you just said. And so first of all, I completely understand, because as I was painting and doing some leaves, I almost felt like my hand wanted to dramatize the brushstroke of Van Gogh, thinking, oh, okay, and I caught myself feeling that way. And I'm like, wait a second, be careful, because that could go wrong really fast, and I shouldn't say that term, but I understand that there is this almost inspiration, and then there's this enthusiasm or of really putting ourselves in the same shoes and then painting that way. So I totally see it. And but at the same time, I would say these to me are the underdog of the idea of sunflowers. And for that, I think they're precious and so much more valuable, because there's something about that. They're in your garden. You planted them. They went through hell, and that's the remain of the battle. And conceptually, you can't compete that and put it together with me driving to Trader Joe's and getting a bunch that who knows where they grew and what kind of thing happened there, and maybe they were grown in Central America, and I'm buying them and contributing to carbon, tons of carbon in the air. Who
Yeah,
knows?
no, actually, there's some, I put it on my story. There's a wonderful person that I found out about called Plant Plug LA, and she lives in South Central, and she's growing things. She's called Plant Plug. And I drove out there with my daughter specifically to support her and buy sunflowers.
Right.
And they didn't thrive in my garden, but they're thriving in hers. And it's so loaded. And I just,
Yeah.
just want to, but at the same time, I just want to focus on the dark greens and how to make
Right.
that green and how to make that yellow. And
I think so. I think the bulbs, I think you're showing here a timeline.
yeah, I'm showing a
Stages.
timeline.
Yeah, different
Yes.
stages of the life of the sunflower. So I would focus on this. I think the hat, because I understand something personal object, something that you love. We've seen you in beautiful hats. I'm not sure if that is helping.
It's not, it's distracting.
So unless, I mean, if you want to bring it, then I would make it more defined. But I could see the fact, I could see
I
how.
don't. I kept trying to bring it and then I take it away and then bring it and take it away. And so I can't, I need to figure
Yeah.
out.
Consider it, because
Almost like I need to go closer in on the flowers and not acknowledge
I
the
think
hat at
so.
all.
I think so. I think so. I would just concentrate on that, and then you can take a break and then see if you want to incorporate that or not.
Okay.
Or use a different.
Final notes. That'll be final things.
Yeah, or you use a different. Maybe the hat. If you use, don't start again, obviously. But if you use the hat upside down as a bowl and you put the sunflower inside, it may just be a shape that could be less associated with this sort of like postcard thing that we don't want,
Right.
There's always a way to incorporate something that is associated unfairly with an image that we hate. I shouldn't say that, or we don't like, or we don't feel comfortable. But that doesn't mean that we can compromise. We can always find a way to bring in something that means a lot to us in an arrangement or a combination that feels different. So
Right. It doesn't have to be the physical thing that we can observe.
right, yeah, there's always,
Like,
maybe
look at
that's
these,
not the
like
right
the
composition.
stages. Like now that I'm having time to actually look at my composition, I love it. And I
Yeah,
was focusing on the hat. The hat has nothing to do with it.
yeah, I just felt, I mean, you have something really, really special. Just give the flowers the attention I think they deserve, in the sense of, like, they are very unique and personal, and there's a story behind them. I feel like for that alone, I would concentrate on that 100%.
Okay. I love it. I'm going to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you guys. I love all of you. I love all your paintings. I love your sunflowers. I love everything.
And thanks for the book. Yeah, I'm just gonna check it out, because is it a catalog? If it's a catalog.
I bought it at the exhibit.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. I did include I'll include a few pages.
Okay.
It was incredible because it told the story. You started at the exhibit. It was only in Chicago and only in I think Amsterdam or something.
Wow. Cool. All
Thank
right,
you.
so I'm gonna do another refresh, but I think I'm just gonna go to you, Julie. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this painting.
Julie, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, this could have been a painting of a sunflower, and it's so much more than that. And I love how you brought in a stage for your painting, and the way you did it is just brilliant. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. This is a good example of how you can bring in a background, you can crop it, and still look super intentional. You gave the viewer a sliver of space on the right side, just enough to understand that this is a room, there's a floor, and there's a wall. It's narrow, but it also brings in this very anthropomorphic idea of the arm and the leg. So there's an in and an out. It's not flat. So to me, that's brilliant, because on the right, you have the really hardcore limit wall of the paper or the canvas. But on the left, you are opposing that rigidness with the in and then out, the zigzagging of the couch. So this section right here alone, it has so much good dynamic tension. I'm speechless. I mean, it's hard for me to describe, but I want to point it out because it's not just the armchair and the chair really close to the composition. It's more about more than that. And then there's the blue. So I think that's a good idea to make sure that the yellows and the orange, it kind of like pops. But on the other end, you have the chair completely cropped. You let a little bit of the ground be underneath, which is nice. The leg is cropped, but the couch is totally cropped on the top and on the side. It works. It works because it feels intentional. And because of that, it just makes the painting really interesting. So yeah, really well done. And I really love the fact that you dedicated time to bring form, to mold the couch, because it's not just blue. It's blue with a form. You know, I love the armchair. I love the fact that this feels tucked, the back seat and the seat, the double sandwiched areas on the seat. Um, I think, I don't know if you uploaded any photos.
I did. I don't know where it is. I just had one photo and I thought I put it in there, but maybe it didn't go through.
Was it from photo or from live? Did you do?
It was from a photo because I
From a photo.
got back too late to move my people and stuff. It didn't go up, so I can send it. I can put it up there.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, no. I think that it could be a good idea. Without seeing the photo, I'm gonna give, and the sunflower is amazing. Oh, let's just kind of like, I'm just gonna point out this small detail, if I can, small detail. The cast shadow.
I did that the last thing.
I love you for it.
Oh,
brilliant.
It, you know, I started out, I took a picture of the vase of flowers and then I thought, I just can't get into all that detail. And then I looked around for anything blue. And I was doing this at 11 o'clock. You had already started and I was in the other room. I was like, oh my God. So I threw that on the chair because that was a blue chair. And I thought it sort of represents the isolation of the time. And it simplified my work in a way because again, it's more architectural, but I didn't want to work on flower too much.
Right. No, well done. Good. Yeah, the scale, to me, conceptually, it also says you cannot sit on this chair. This chair is mine. So there's something about when a chair is blocked, we're not inviting anyone to sit on it. So this chair is taken. And so conceptually, I think that's very important because yes, there's a sense of like single, again, isolation, but also of owning the space. So there's a sense of pride and strength that's very, it's very present. So I love that. And you also made something really interesting that I would enhance. You brought the petals tilting over the cliff of the couch. They're not right in the middle of the chair. So I would make that even more pronounced because it very shyly, in a very shy way, they dropping on the edge. But if you bring them even further, if you can, or I mean, I don't know, but that's really interesting that there's the sense of the flower being closer to that edge of the chair. I feel like the leg of the chair is very strong and very rigid. I don't know if that's the way it looks like or not, but it takes a lot of attention or spotlight. I also feel like under the chair, it's much lighter than the outside. So there's to me, light-wise, I cannot reconcile that. There's too much lightness underneath. And it almost feels like the chair is not grounded on the floor. And again, I'm just saying all these things without seeing the image, but I see if that makes any sense or not.
Yeah,
but,
it does. It is backlit because there's a sliding door right behind it. So, but I had that same feeling once I shot the photo. I thought, oh, I have to darken up down there because it just seems it needs more weight there. It's a little too floaty.
Yeah, especially mostly because there's this the darkness on this leg that there's so much contrast that but I think it's extraordinary. You should be really proud. And I love the fact that compared to last week, the mailbox was so busy with texture, perspective, you had architectural, you had landscape, you had distance, you had a path. But this, it's so clean in that sense. So it's a good, diverse approach. I really like it. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Love this painting. Oh, Claire, this is so delicious. So delicious.
Thank you. Three of us put chairs in our paintings. I think it's really
Oh,
interesting.
wow. You're right. You're right. Okay. Well, I don't know where to begin, but I'm just going to pause this.
I had all these lemons and I had a photo of it, but today I didn't have the lemons, but I thought, oh, the chair. So I put the chair in.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm just going to tell you a couple of things. And I think, let me
I
just,
already know one thing you're going to say. The shape of the vase is not the same on each side. I already know that.
I don't know. And I think, do we have anyone else? I think you're going to be the last person for feedback, right? I think so. Jen,
Yes, I think so. Yep.
okay, perfect. So then I know that because I want to make sure that I dedicate enough time just in case there was someone after. But all right, so this is the image and this is the painting. That's fine. And conceptually, I love that you chose the corner, the same corner. I've seen this corner before, so you're creating a series, not only conceptually, but the fact that you are specifically choosing that as a stage. And that is helpful to bring all the paintings together with another element, another layer. So good job in that sense. I also love the color coordination. That's wonderful. I love the chair. I love the fact that you bring a sense of Alice in Wonderland magic here, because
Oh my gosh, thank you.
you're playing with size. There's something large, there's something tiny, and there's a teapot. So to me, this just reads Alice in Wonderland like big.
Wow.
And so I love that, and I love the color coordination, and I love the size. There's a surreal aspect here that it just comes forward, because it's not just the way you painted it, but then there's a story here. That the little tiny empty chair, I think it's just a nice touch. So let's just go back to basics, arranging. Composition, you did a good job. I think you did a good job in the sense that there's a corner, but then nothing compositionally interferes with the fact that you wanted to stage a mini diorama with your elements. And there's nothing about the arrangement that that takes me away from that stage, the way that you wanted to bring the spotlight to the elements that you brought in. So in that sense, to me, this feels successful. There's nothing forced or unintentional or something. And again, I'm just trying to dissect this, to the minimum detail or the maximum detail. So in that sense, I think good job. In regards of the light, I would say, I know that this is difficult, but I think like the teapot and the shadow don't feel correlated enough on the painting. It looks like, which could be interesting, it looks like the teapot, it's levitating, because the shadow on the photograph continues a little bit further than the spot where you interrupted it. It just goes on a tiny bit. So it just feels, there's a transition, it doesn't feel as cut. So I feel like that grounds the teapot on the countertop. There's also much more darkness closer to the point of contact. So in case you wanted to bring that in on your painting, yeah, that's something I don't know if I would, because I kind of like the levitation that's happening. There's something really...
Yeah, I didn't notice it until I saw it on your screen. It totally looks like it's flying. Like it's gonna fly away.
Which I think it's kind of cool. So you take some time to decide, but I don't think it's something that you should fix necessarily. I'm just kind of like bringing that up. And then in the same sense, never mind. I think that's good.
Tell those are fake flowers. I don't care if people think they're fake, because they are.
Yeah, that's okay. No, that's okay. Actually, this is a really private question. It's a really private, and I can't believe I dare to ask Kathy about that, because it could be a rude question, a rude in the sense like, rude when you ask someone, is your hair natural? When you ask this kind of question, it's really rude, and I've seen this happening with Kian. People telling him, are these like real curls? He goes into a rage because people unintentionally, they want to find out, but they don't realize how rude this could be when you ask someone if that something that you're showing is real. It's the ultimate, rudeness. So no one should be asking us if this is real or not. And if they
Well,
do,
they're real. They're not. They weren't grown in the ground, but they are really. They're not imagined. They're real.
but my point is that it's more a reflection on them than our own intentions or whatever. So yeah, anyhow, so I would say that my point, or my point with the flowers, is the fact that you have them foreshortened almost. The disc has 3 different angles. It's not just facing forward. One has more of a tilt, the other one it's less, and finally the other one it's really foreshortened. So I would consider, because the 3 of them, they seem to have the same facing forward. Um, I would play around with the fact that the disc could be tilted differently in each of the flowers. It's just gonna make them less on a single flat visual plane, because right now they all fall into the same single visual plane. And because that's such a strong anchor, no matter what you do with the yellow on around that disc, it's just gonna read flat. But if you consider kind of like tilting that disc slightly, then the petals around it automatically will fall into different planes. So it's something that I would consider. I think I would just give some TLC to that position of the flowers. I hope I didn't say something bad.
No, I'm thinking about what you said. This is
Okay.
often an issue with me. This happened in the sink painting as well.
Okay. No.
Circular objects on an angle have become a challenge, and maybe that's okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, the things that here, something that could help you, it's the fact that you have a disc within a disc. So it's not about kind of like creating something super sophisticated, because the disc within the disc, it's closer to one edge than it is from the center. So it could be as simple as bringing that inner disc closer to one edge without even bothering talking about like changing the shape.
Just shifting it over.
Try that first, because that will already push that disc to a different direction. That alone, I believe.
I have to say, Julio, I really appreciated that you talked about spending a lot of time on the background and then giving certain elements a certain amount of time. That helped me a lot. I did work a lot on the background, and again later. I would say the thing I spent the least amount of time on was the teapot, and I think it's the best thing in the painting. And the chair, I didn't spend a lot of time on.
Well, listen, I just, thanks for sharing that. And I think that made your painting better, because you could have been spending a lot of time on the petals and it would have fried you. It would have totally fried you. And
I didn't care about them as much because they're not real. I figure, well, they're fake. I can change them if I.
Good. I think it's the right approach, because sometimes we have to go around. We have to circle around things before we actually work on that on that focal point, and that usually.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it gives me better results than going there first and then thinking that that's going to be the key of the painting. I never have like that that amount of success as when I go around the bush and then build things around, and then I go to the flower or whatever object it is. So I hope, hopefully that had the same feeling with this, you know, working on the corner, on the wall, on the light, really helped the painting. And then, you know, we can just go to the petals and do
It
something.
gave a certain freedom to not worry about it yet.
Yeah.
You know, I love that you said that this isn't about yellow and this isn't about sunflowers necessarily. I
Good.
do have a question.
Yes.
The vase I'm struggling with, it's a vase my sister made for me. I really love it a lot. I didn't put the definition of the grout in between the tile. I think that might help give it the correct shape, but it looks really flat to me. So I'm hoping you can give me some tips.
Yeah, I would. So
The tile, it makes it hard to give it, you know, shadows and stuff.
yeah, I think I'm not. I see it. I see it. I love the way it's painted. I feel like if you bring too much definition on the grout, it may take away a little bit from other elements. It's gonna be, it would be an artistic choice for me. I don't think it needs it because I kind of like this the abstraction almost. But I do agree with you that there needs to be perhaps a better correlation between the the darker side of it, which is closer to the wall, and where the highlight is. And I feel it's not as clear on the painted vase because it feels like very similar, and the darker doesn't read necessarily darker. It almost reads like grout. So what I would do is possibly try to organize or polarize the values on the vase in a sense that they would become much paler on this upper right corner right here, and darker on the bottom one, because the problem here is that I would make the pixelated colors, I would make those darker rather than just using gray to create darkness, because I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay,
but
so mix the colors with something to make them darker, like
yeah, so it
gray.
shows that you have pieces there.
Uh-huh.
Same pieces are lighter where there's light, same pieces are darker where there's shadow.
Change the not the
The
temperature,
value.
the value, not
Yeah.
the value. Okay.
Of the pieces. And I think I have a hunch that this will be enough. It will be enough.
This was a really fun assignment. You know, by the end of the pandemic, my entire apartment will have a painting correlated, but I wasn't sure what to do. My cousin posts these beautiful paintings, photos of sunflowers, but then I remembered, oh, I have sunflowers. So I was inspired by the joy of the assignment. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. This means absolutely everything. And I agree with you. I really appreciate that you guys, each one of you kind of like shared something different about this that went beyond the flower. If you Google sunflower paintings, you're going to see a bunch of things that it's not what we want. Not that they're wrong. Oh my goodness. I just don't want to criticize anybody because, you know, that's a typical subject matter, as Lois said, ladies' night theme. And I think we can do so much better than that. And we have done so much better than that. And with all due respect, you know, but yeah, I appreciate it. To me, that was the challenge. It was trying to make it personal, trying to make it contextualizing with the situation that we live in, because I think that's something really strong that we have, and you guys have been extremely successful. I learned so much. I am proud that I did it, and proud that we did it together. I think there's so much good that came out of this that yeah, I'm really grateful and I'm really thankful. So I'm just gonna tell you guys that this was much more successful than what I anticipated, that it made me really enjoy the session. And the paintings look really, really great. I love the intelligence behind the painting, because it was not just about the flower and featuring it, but there's bits here and there on each of the paintings that I really enjoyed discovering and made the painting really interesting. The paintings, your paintings, really interesting. So yeah, and also Jen, thanks for backing up or backing us with all that information.
Sure thing.
Yeah, and it was good to go deeper. It was good to find out things about this kind of like story from a painter's point of view, because I feel like that's something that's missed out there. I learned a lot. And thanks for the catalog, Lois. I also ordered a book of an author that went through all the correspondence and tried to find out the reasons why he painted the sunflowers, because I'm really curious, about that. I feel like there's something about the emotional struggles that this particular painter went through that I feel could be beneficial to learn, because somehow I'm not trying to say that we're going through the same struggles, but something about the thought process, I just feel like it could be good to empathize. So anyhow, so thank you so much. I'm on a cloud right now, as usual, every Friday, and I can't wait to work on this. I'm going to work on this on Wednesday. I'm going to try to take a photo, and I encourage you to work on them if you can. You don't have to join us on Wednesday. If you find yourself Wednesday morning that you wanted to dedicate time and you didn't, then join us. That's why we do it. But if you can find some time either right after this session, hopefully you'll have lunch or right before the next session that you decide to join, it's going to be worth it. 5 minutes extra could just mean a lot. So.
And Wednesday you can work on anything, you guys. It doesn't have to be this painting, doesn't have to be anything that we've done together. It can be your own. Just think of it as a typical Thursday night. You can start from scratch on anything.
Yeah, they've been really good. The sessions have been really, really.
Thank you so much, Julio.
Thank you.
Julio, do you want to talk about your painting?
My painting.
Oh, the one in the catalog.
No, your painting right now that you did today. I feel like, you give us all this fantastic feedback and you've been painting and talking and thinking about everybody else's, and then you have this painting on your easel and it's like, can we see it? I feel like I would like to talk about your painting a little bit and your process, and I would like a little insight. Is that okay with everybody? What do you think?
I think that's great.
Yeah. So I just
because I learned so much when I listened to Claire and everybody. Like, it's interesting.
Oh, that's great.
This one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see it up close either.
I was like, while you were painting, I talked to you. You can't hear me, but I talk to you when I'm painting because you're talking. And does anyone else do that?
Yes, I do that.
Laugh a lot. So there are things you say that I will start laughing. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and my family's always making lunch. They all hear you, and I said, "Do you want me to put my earphones on?" And they're like, "No, we love Julio."
Oh.
But I have to say, when you were painting the vase, I was like, "Oh, you're afraid of the sunflower." I was like, "Julio, you're spending too much time on the vase.
Oh.
You're afraid of the sunflower."
Yeah.
Did you feel that way at all? I mean, I think because I would just love to feel your fears and.
Right. No, it's a combination.
Because we're having the same feelings, but I would like to hear yours.
It's a combination. Yeah, it's a combination. Yeah, I'll come clean. There's always a sense of being intimidated by something in the painting. It's intimidation, really, and say, you know what, this I don't want to get there. But at the same time, I honestly want to say that I like to go around the bush. I like to reserve the challenge at the end. So it's a combination of both, because that has always helped me with a painting. So when there's something that stands out, that seems the focus, that seems that's the subject of the painting, I love and really enjoy to build up the momentum, the context, the stage first, because I know that this needs to happen first before the drama plays out. So there is a sense of intimidation. Yes, there's always like, oh my gosh, you know, shyness, insecurity, always. But at the same time, because I feel like the glass was more challenging than the sunflower in a way. And at some point when I couldn't correlate it, I was like, oh, this is not going well. But there's this sense of like trust in saying, no. Let's leave the drama until the very end. And
That's discipline.
in a way, yes. And I would say trust also in the sense that taking care of the invisible will help the visible. Taking care of the background, taking care of like anything around it, I know it will be crucial. And so I'll need to spend less time. Because think about it, if I would go to the flowers first without any context, I would really feel afraid because I would have nothing to back up that object. The paper would be empty or half done. And then I would feel the flowers needed more work, and I would feel, and the house of cards would come down. So yeah, it's usually the more dramatic and the more something needs attention, the more I just circle around it and go around it and build it, because I know that that's going to be groundwork.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It helped me too. I thought it was a great way to do it today.
Good. It shows. It just shows. It shows. No, I think, yeah.
I painted very differently today. I even, like, I held my palette, whereas usually I have it on the table and I go to it. Here I was just very much more instinctual,
Right.
and kind of having fun, you know, kind of hating it, but having fun,
No, it's
trying
always,
something
there's always
different.
that moment, trial and
We're
error.
learning so much every time. These challenges are so wonderful.
Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah. Well, thank
right.
you.
That person in the room that you really want to talk to, but you're like, I'm going to be super cool and we're not going to talk to them, and kind of say something at the end. The way you held off painting the sunflower, it was like they're so important. I'm not going to give them too much attention because they're so good.
Oh,
And they're just not gonna like me if I'm on them. So I'm just gonna put it off to the end and be super cool. Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah.
I had a star of the show as well. Like, I have the one that's flowering. That was the star of the show. And then I have the other ones that are like dead or didn't open, that I had to just like,
Yeah.
that's a great.
Mine was the chair. I'm like, I'm putting that off till the end because, you know, it's in its own space. I can leave it alone. I don't want too much attention. I don't want to focus on it too much.
You know what? That's also good, Claire, that you brought this up, and because there's a little string, emotional string there that you just played. That I feel like I wanna. Yeah, it's almost like, you know what? You're pretty. You think you're pretty. I'm not gonna paint you first. How about that? It's almost like there's someone in the room that's more handsome or more attractive.
Exactly.
Deeper.
You're not going to
Personality.
But that's the last person you acknowledge.
Yeah.
I love it.
You guys, I could paint sunflowers for the rest of my life.
No, but yeah.
I'm going to find the black ones. Somebody mentioned there's black.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like dark purple. They're like almost like purple. They're incredible.
I want to find some of those. I doubt they have them at Bristol Farms.
No, they don't.
But go and do a reconnaissance, mission for us and let us know what they have at Bristol.
Yeah, and also go on a which already some of you guys already did, but go on a sunflower hunt. And I know Carl has been on a sunflower hunt. I just saw a picture that he posted in the neighborhood of something that I don't know if it's a sunflower, Jen, but he did post a sunflower painting.
Probably.
There's some weird app that my teenagers love. It's like a manifestation app. It's a little spooky.
Oh my gosh! I know exactly what you're talking about.
So we've done it. My girls love to do it. We get in the car,
Some quantum
it's safe.
stuff.
And yeah, and we go and we think about something and then we drive there. It gives you this place to go to, and you can do it within distances. Every time it's brought us to sunflowers. Swear.
Really?
God. Yep. Well,
Okay,
like 9 times out of 10.
It's
Brought
a
us
new-
to sunflowers, like someone in someone's yard or something like this.
It's the new TikTok. It's the new, like,
What is it called? Do you remember?
I don't know, but I read about it and I was like, I need to get into this, and it sounds really interesting, but but yes, I believe that. And you know what, if you go on a even subconsciously, if if you go on a sunflower hunt, you will see amazing stuff out there. Driving, walking, it's just like everything else. You know how that goes. But it's nice. It's fun to actually do that, because things by affirmation, they just materialize. So yeah, wonderful. Yeah, well, thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And again, yeah, so let's connect soon. Have the best weekend, and love everyone. Jen, happy Friday. And
Happy Friday.
we'll-
Notes are up, you guys. Just follow the link. Notes are all set.
and we're gonna send this video as soon as possible today.
All right.
Woohoo.
Thank you so much. It
Need
was
to
a great
see my
one.
people. I need
Bye,
to see more
guys.
people.
Bye-bye.
Hi,
Bye,
Claire.
guys.
Claire, your
Hi,
hair
Julie.
looks nice.
Good job.
Hi, Julie. Hi, is Ojai? Can we come and do? Can we come?
Yeah, we have to paint up here sometime. Today, I can't even see across the valley. It is so smoky, and there's no fires nearby. It's all from the north, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Incredibly thick. But we should do painting up here when we can do it. Be great.
Yeah.
Because you can do it as a day trip. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, and we could there's definite space. We could be 16
yeah.
feet apart.
Yeah.
And it's, what is it, an hour from here?
It's 90 minutes from like Hancock Park area.
Well,
I
when
would
things
do it.
cool off, we could all come up there and do socially distanced painting of each other.
That'd be good in the field.
Oh, that's interesting. Like
We
from
did a whole
that's
session up here one
interesting.
year, right? Julio, what week was that? Was that in 2016, 2017?
That was
No, it was like, yeah, 2018, 17 or 18. Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
The retreat, the Ojai retreat.
Yeah.
And Julie, you used to live in LA and now you're there?
Yeah, we were in the kind of Larchmont area, and we moved just kind of spur of the moment. We just decided to take off in November and
Good
sold our place
idea.
there.
Just this November you did?
Before we realized everything was coming down with COVID.
Oh my God, that was
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, it's been really great. It's been
Look,
good.
there you are. There's the floating
Oh, there's the picture.
teapot. I love the floating teapot. Come on, that's like magical realism from last week.
Yeah.
What was that?
All together in one spot. It's gorgeous. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we had this session today, and I hope to see you next week.
Okay.
Sounds good, guys.
Julie.
Thank
Thanks,
you
everyone.
so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great weekend, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.